Hello and welcome. David Baker. Welcome to the Wisdom for Life podcast. Got a short one for you today. A little controversial, maybe, but I hope you'll give it a hearing. And it is very important. The role of self. The role of self. Who's the biggest enemy you face? Okay. It's probably not the world, and it's probably not the devil. He's not omnipresent. He's not everywhere. Biggest person, biggest battle, biggest enemy I face is me, the flesh, okay? And so the role of self, to understand what the role of self is. The world's big. Self-esteem, that's the problem. People are in jail because they have a low self-esteem. Then they study them and find out what? Oh, man, they have a high self-esteem. How come? They say, that car, I deserve it, I'll take it. That woman, I deserve it, I'll take it. That money, I deserve it, I'll take it. They have a very high self-esteem of each other. Oh, well, you don't worry about self-esteem, you worry about self-worth. Look up self-worth, it says another term for self-esteem. Definition, self-worth is having the opinion you have about yourself and the value you place on yourself. And so you have a high self-esteem, you're a good person who deserves good things. Okay, it's about self-respect. They say, here's the definition: pride and confidence in oneself. Is that biblical? Is that a good thing to have? How about this? Self-efficacy refers to an individual's belief in his or her capacity to execute behaviors necessary to produce specific performance attainments. Guess what the focus is on? Self. Okay, we could talk all day about psychological ideas. What does God say about it? Colossians 2:8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ. People will spoil you through philosophy. Now, philosophy is a system of beliefs that influences our decisions and behavior. Philosophy. God said, beware lest any man spoil you. Spoiled is rotten. Spoiled is no good. Spoiled is you throw it away. There are many people who are no good, who are pretty much worthless in this world. How come? Because they have been spoiled through a philosophy that's wrong. All right, here's God's understanding of self. Number one, by ourselves we can do nothing. John 5:30, John 15:3. Without me, you can do nothing. Okay, I can of my own self do nothing. So the first thing is understand, without God, you can do nothing of yourself. Number two, I'm to control myself. Proverbs 25:28, Proverbs 16:32, I'm to rule my spirit. I am to control myself. Listen, if you can't follow you, who else is going to follow you? You better lead yourself before you expect anyone else for you to be able to lead them. Okay? Then, number four, what should we think? Or number three, we're to deny self. Okay? Deny self. Teaching us that denying ungodliness and worldly lust, we should live soberly, righteously, and godly in this present world. We're to deny ourselves. And we're not to live for self. We're to deny self. Number four, we should die, crucify, and mortician ourselves. Paul said, 1 Corinthians 15:31, I die daily. Romans 6, it says, our old man is crucified with him. Galatians 2:20, I'm crucified with Christ. What are we supposed to do with self? Crucify it. We're supposed to die to it. We're supposed to die daily to it. We're not to worry and live for self. We're not to do that. Next, number five, we're not supposed to think of ourselves higher than we're supposed to. Romans 12:3, for I say, through the grace given unto me, to every man that is among you, not to think of himself more highly than he ought to think, but to think soberly, according as God hath dealt to every man the measure of faith. So how are we supposed to think of ourselves? Let's see, what are we made out of? What is that beautiful, rich, amazing material we're made out of? Yeah, dirt. Even the dust of the earth, okay? Not even good, rich Iowa dirt. We're made of the dust of the earth. What animal we compare to? Oh, a thoroughbred horse. Nope. A lion. Nope. How about a worm? Okay, that's what God compares us to. Paul said, oh, wretched man that I am. We should not think of ourselves more highly than we ought to think, and so many people do. Basically, so who are we to esteem biblically? Philippians 2:3, esteem others better than ourselves. 1 Thessalonians 5:12, we are to esteem those that are over us in the Lord for the work's sake. 1 Thessalonians 5:12 and 13. Okay, we're to esteem others, not ourselves. Man, that doesn't sound like a very good life, not to think about self. What kind of life am I going to have if I don't look out for myself? Depends. If you give your life for Christ's sake, what kind of life you're going to have? You're going to find it. Matthew 10:39, Matthew 16:25, Mark 8:35, Luke 9:24 basically says the same thing. He that findeth his life shall lose it. He that loseth his life for my sake shall find it. You want to have a great life? It's not self-esteem or self-worth or self-anything. It's not a low self-esteem or a high self-esteem. It's no self. Stop thinking about you. Stop thinking about self. Think about God. Think about serving God. Think about letting your hands be His, your feet be His, your mind be His, your mouth, your tongue, your life be His. And when you lose your life for His sake, guess what you will find? Life. Life. The best life you could ever have. I love the phrase, God always gives His best to those that leave the decision up to Him. If you want to have the best life, then surrender your life. Deny your life. Give up your life. Give it to God. And you'll have the best life you can ever have. I am involved in doing things now that I don't want to do. But guess what? It's not about my life. I don't want to. It doesn't matter what you want. I used to say it to my dad. Well, I don't want to. Did I ask you? Go in the military. Tell them, well, I don't want to. Who asked you, private? You're not supposed to think. And we should be that way with God. God, you show me and I'll do it. And when you do that, you will have the best life you can ever have. Don't think about you. Think about others. Think about Christ. Think about serving Him. And when you do, now, you will find your life.